This driver won a Formula One race in almost 5 minutes. And this guy started a race from the pit lane and still finished on the podium. Some F1 drivers have gone above and beyond with their accomplishments. From the longest race to the youngest winners, these are Formula One's unbreakable records. Let's start with one of the most impressive records in F1 history: the biggest race winning margin. Can you believe Stirling Moss won the 1958 Portuguese Grand Prix by over 5 minutes? That's like crossing the finish line and having enough time to grab a snack before the second-place driver shows up. Even legends like Schumacher, Hamilton, Vettel, and Verstappen haven't come close to this. Today, with all the equal performance and super reliable cars, this record is probably going to stay untouched. Back in 1958, things were different, making such a huge gap possible. This record really shows how dominant and skilled Stirling Moss was. Next up, let's talk about the youngest driver to ever win an F1 race. Max Verstappen made history at the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, just a week after moving up from Toro Rosso to Red Bull. He was only 18 years, 7 months, and 5 days old when he took the top spot on the podium. With the FIA's new rules that drivers must be at least 18, beating this record is going to be super tough. But it wasn't just Max's age that was impressive. His calm and skill under pressure were amazing. The race was wild, with Mercedes drivers Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg crashing out on the first lap, setting the stage for Max's historic win. This victory showed the world a new superstar had arrived in Formula One. Next, we've got the longest race in Formula One history. This record goes to the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, which lasted over 4 hours and 4 minutes. Jenson Button won this race in an incredible fashion, making 6 pit stops, including a drive-through penalty, and overtaking Sebastian Vettel on the final lap. The race had it all: heavy rain, multiple safety car periods, and lots of collisions. Button's determination and skill in handling these challenges made this victory one of the most memorable in F1 history. Since then, the rules have been changed to avoid such long races, making this record one for the ages. Now, races have a maximum time limit, so we won't see such marathon events again. But this next record is pretty unbelievable. Sebastian Vettel holds a lot of records, but there's one he's probably not too proud of: the shortest time between starting an F1 career and earning a penalty. In his first F1 appearance at the 2006 Turkish Grand Prix, he got a penalty just 6 seconds after leaving the garage for speeding in the pit lane. This is still the shortest time ever between starting an F1 career and getting a penalty. While Vettel has gone on to achieve great success, including 4 world championships, this record is a funny reminder of his early days in the sport. It also shows how strict Formula One is with its rules, where even the smallest mistakes are punished. But there are some unusual records too, like this next one: the most consecutive race retirements. Andrea De Cesaris was known for his numerous race retirements and holds the record for 18 consecutive race retirements between 1985 and 1986. With today's F1 cars being super reliable, it's hard to see anyone breaking this record. De Cesaris had some brilliant moments, but he also faced a lot of mechanical failures. Despite all these issues, he never gave up and kept racing hard. This record really shows how unpredictable and challenging Formula One was back then. Next, we've got the record for the fewest finishers in a race. One of the most dramatic races in F1 history was the 1996 Monaco Grand Prix, where only 3 cars finished the race. Olivier Panis won his only F1 race here, with David Coulthard and Johnny Herbert being the only other drivers to cross the finish line. Today, with better reliability and safety measures, it's hard to imagine a race with so few finishers. The tough conditions and many retirements turned this race into a battle of endurance and skill. Panis's win is still one of the most unlikely and memorable victories in F1 history. If you've ever wondered who Verstappen's predecessor could be, it's probably this next guy. Jim Clark holds the record for the most Grand Slams in Formula One. A Grand Slam is when a driver takes pole position, leads every lap, wins the race, and sets the fastest lap. Clark did this 8 times in his 72 Grand Prix appearances. Even with more races on the calendar now, no driver has broken Clark's record. Lewis Hamilton comes closest with 6. Clark's dominance in this era was unmatched, showing his extraordinary talent. This record highlights how completely Clark mastered his competitors. Next up, we have the closest finish in F1 history. The 1971 Italian Grand Prix was an absolute nail-biter, with BRM's Peter Gethin crossing the line just 0.01 seconds ahead of Ronnie Peterson. The top 5 drivers were separated by only 0.61 seconds, making it one of the most thrilling finishes ever. It's hard to imagine such a narrow margin being beaten in today's races. The high-speed Monza circuit and the slipstreaming battles made this finish unforgettable. Fans still talk about it today, and it really shows the intense competition and excitement that Formula One can deliver. Another incredible record is the fewest starts before winning a championship. Giuseppe Farina won the first ever Drivers' Championship in 1950 after just 6 Grand Prix starts. With the current length of the F1 season and how competitive it is now, this record seems unbeatable. Farina's achievement is even more impressive because he did it in the very first season of the World Championship. This record shows his amazing skill and determination, setting a high bar for future championships. Let's talk about Alberto Ascari, who holds 2 amazing records: the most consecutive laps led and the most consecutive fastest laps. Ascari led 305 laps in a row from the 1952 Belgian Grand Prix to the 1953 Dutch Grand Prix. He also set 7 consecutive fastest laps between the 1952 Belgian Grand Prix and the 1953 Argentine Grand Prix. These records show how dominant Ascari was during that time. His ability to consistently lead races and set the fastest laps proves his incredible driving skills and the technical excellence of his team. Juan Manuel Fangio is famous for many achievements, but one really stands out: winning the Drivers' Championship with 4 different teams. Fangio won 5 titles in total, 2 with Mercedes and 1 each with Alfa Romeo, Ferrari, and Maserati. This shows just how talented and versatile he was. Fangio's ability to adapt and succeed with different cars and teams is something we probably won't see again in modern F1. This record truly cements his legacy as one of the greatest drivers ever. The 1953 German Grand Prix holds the record for the most cars to start a race, with 34 cars on the grid. Today's F1 rules only allow a maximum of 26 cars, so this record is unlikely to be broken unless there are big rule changes. Managing such a large grid today would be really challenging, and current safety standards would probably prevent it. This record gives us a fascinating look into the early days of Formula One, when the sport was still evolving and finding its feet. Sebastian Vettel holds the record for the biggest gain in positions in a Grand Prix. At the 2012 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, he started from the pit lane and finished on the podium, gaining 21 places. This amazing drive shows Vettel's skill and determination. The race was packed with incidents and safety car periods, but Vettel's relentless pursuit and smart overtaking helped him achieve this incredible feat. It's a record that highlights his resilience and racing intelligence. Another impressive record is the most consecutive podium finishes in a single season. Michael Schumacher achieved this in 2002, finishing on the podium in all 17 races that year. Lewis Hamilton has matched this record 3 times, but Schumacher's 100% podium streak for a season is still unmatched. This record highlights Schumacher's consistency and dominance during the 2002 season, a time when he and Ferrari were nearly unbeatable. Keeping up such a high level of performance throughout an entire season is truly remarkable. Finally, let's talk about the oldest driver to start a Grand Prix. Louis Chiron holds this record, having raced at the 1955 Monaco Grand Prix at 55 years, 9 months, and 19 days old. With younger drivers entering the sport, it's hard to see this record being broken. Chiron's participation in that race shows his incredible passion and skill as a driver. Today, drivers usually start much younger and retire earlier, making this record almost impossible to beat. And there you have it, guys. These are some of the most unbreakable records in Formula One history. Each of these records tells a unique story of skill, endurance, and sometimes pure luck. Do you think any of these records will ever be broken? Let us know in the comments below. And make sure to click on the next video for more Formula One history.